Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, and today we are reviewing a new Rogue Fitness product. This is a product that I'm dubbing a third wave Rogue Fitness product. An example of another third wave product is the Rogue Adjustable Bench 3.0, which I'm looking at right now behind the camera. This is what I mean. Rogue's first generation, I'll probably talk about this maybe in a specific video, but their first gen, their first wave was, think of a Rogue R3. So it was just basic uprights, powder coated black with texture black. They slap a sticker on there, they weld it all together. Second wave is Rogue started adding some colors to their uprights. They're still using stickers, but they're using a little bit different stickers, that sort of thing. Third wave is this. This is the Rogue AM-2 Adjustable Monolift 2.0, and this, in my opinion, is Rogue at their best. Let's get into it. A monolift is a pretty simple idea. It's something used largely in powerlifting. And this isn't the first iteration. This is what their 2.0. They've had other iterations of their older ones, just refining them more and more. But this, and the reason I call this a third wave product is because it's very refined. Everything about this is like Rogue taking from purchasing power of being able to have all custom parts, and number two, being able to iterate off previous editions and create what is really one of the best adjustable monolift arms on the entire planet. And I'm not talking about price yet, I'll get into that, but if we're just looking at specifics of how it's designed, this is the most compact design, and that's one of the reasons that I really like it. Rather than a traditional monolift arm that's adjustable, like taking up a ton of space, both away from the rack and alongside the rack, it's very compact. So what that allows you to do is, one, it's not as heavy to move around. Two, you just have more lifting area. And when we're using these in small spaces like most people are in their home gyms, every piece of real estate matters. And so having a small footprint, like, one, helps because you can take it off and put it on easily, but two, it just like allows you to not take so much space away from the rack when you're doing other things in your rack, like using your safety spotter arms. Now, the other thing that like they obviously thought about was the way this goes on and off. If you've ever used an adjustable monolift arm, you know they're like, one, heavy, and two, really annoying to put on. This one is designed to be very quick and simple to put on and off. So there's this pin here, you pull off, you take it off, and then this is designed to be used as a one-hand movement. We weighed this and it weighed, I think, around, what do you guys? 26.2 pounds. Okay, we weighed this and it weighed right around 26 pounds, a little bit over. One, that's not crazy light, but it is lighter than some of the other options, like a rep monolift arm that we weighed in at 36 pounds. 36 pounds. But in addition to that, it's just easier to wield. The other ones are very hard and clunky. So when you're going from, like a lot of people are, adding attachments to the rack, this allows you to quickly grab it, throw it on, grab your detent pin, shove her in, and ready to go. And there's no additional like clip that you have to add like we see on Sorinex pins. It's got this button nose on here that allows you to put it in quickly and securely without it moving around. Now, in addition to that, the other thing that they thought through was how far this sits off here. And so the original version of the Rogue Adjustable Monolift, which by the way was the very first one that I know of that came to market that sat on a typical upright and has now since been like copied, or others have been inspired by, from pretty much every other brand, it sat off really far off the upright. And the problem with that is, again, it's harder to wield, but also like it just gets in the way of the bar. You want it to be compact. So this allows it to be both compact, but also be heavy enough up here so that it can go back when you're placing the bar out of the rack. So by making this compact, not making it so far off and weighing it down heavy, it still has the same like going back to the rack when you're unracking as the previous versions, but it's just not as much in the way. The next thing is the protection on the bar. So the previous models, you can tell they're using off-the-shelf items. This is very much customized specifically for Rogue. And you can tell that because it's, one, outfitted all the way on both the front and the back. So both the rack and your bar is going to be touching UHMW plastic the entire time. And they didn't just put UHMW plastic on the hook where the bar is going to be sitting, or down below, or a little bit higher. They put it all the way on the rest. So every time you're rubbing your bar back into the upright, the knurling is touching UHMW plastic. So you're not going to have any metal on contact. You're not going to wear down your knurl quicker. You're also not going to be scarring and marring your piece of equipment here. Just overall, it's really nice. But the fit and finish is just beautiful. I mean, look, it's just perfectly flat, it's perfectly flush, and it's all one piece. So they take these separate pieces and then sandwich it together with 2 additional pieces up top, and it's just very refined. The other thing, like, and this is again, goes back to the idea of like a more revised product and Rogue overall, like improving their design language, is there's no stickers on here. Everybody knows I don't love stickers, but they're using laser cut everywhere that they can. I don't see any Rogue sticker on here, which is one thing I really liked about the adjustable bench 3.0, but I think is a forthcoming of everything that's going to come out of Rogue in the future. So on the side here, on both sides, we have the Rogue badge, which then is illuminated when the rack is back in because the red shines through. But then on the other side here, we have button screws that prevent any like sharp edges. So on the inside where the lifter is going to be and the bar is going to be, there's nothing right here, although there is one screw right here that's used within the bushings for the movement of the arm. But on the outside, there's no sharp edges. So everything is like rounded off. Like when you're lifting it out, you don't have to worry about anything sharpening. And these are all minor things, but I think when you add them all up, they make a really well-designed product. And then lastly is the ability to clip in. So they added this lock key here that allows it to go in when not in use, or allows you to, when you want to use it, if you'd like, to lock in the arm so you can use the bar just like you would a normal J-cup. So that means rather than having to use a Monolift every time or having to move it out and have a different set of J-cups, you can use this just like you would a normal J-cup. Just place this in here and now you're locked and ready to go. Very smart idea. And in addition, another like design element is this braided paracord. It's another thing that they add that may add a little bit of cost, but ultimately just creates a really good product. Now, one other feature they're adding, and they've marketed a little bit, is this backstop bolt right here. I don't have it in here because I don't really like it, but the idea is you put a bolt in here and it prevents the Monolift arm from coming out too far so it's not swinging when you're getting under the bar. Now, if you're a power lifter and you're like really trying to max out your weights, that's something that I could see being beneficial because you don't want it to swing all over the place. For me personally, I like being able to pull the bar out and get under it and kind of set up that way and pull it off. But for those that are at like max weights, that's a cool feature they've added. And I actually noticed if you wanted to make this so it stuck out farther permanently, you could put this out farther, put the bolt in, and now the J-cup stays out here, which would allow somebody with like a tight rack, or maybe they're using an incline bench on a coop squat. This could allow you to use the uprights just like you would and also be further away from the rack, which I don't see them marketing, but is definitely something that this could be used for. So I think it's a smart feature. I've obviously said a lot of good things about the AM-2, but there are some things that I think could be improved, and I think things that maybe for a future iteration could be added. Number one is this pin. I really like this pin. I think it's a cool idea, but it doesn't sit in there as flushly as I'd like. So when it goes in, you can see it kind of like jiggles around. It's not fully locked in. It just doesn't provide me a ton of confidence when it's in there. Like, nobody's gonna be surprised when I say this, but I would have loved to see this magnetized. If this was magnetized on the inside here or right outside here, it would allow it to sit in there quickly and be locked in rather than kind of like jiggling around when it's not in use up here. I don't foresee it falling out, and I love that they added like the little lip here, but having that magnetized, it just would have like added a little bit extra security and allowed me to know it's in there. Number two, I think they missed an opportunity here, and that's with the pin. One thing they talk about is the ability to go up in 2-inch increments. And the reason is because the holes on a Rogue upright or most other 1-inch hole uprights are on 2 inches on center. They could have made this so that you could have adjusted the Monolift arm in 1 inches on center. And this is what I mean by that. This is a Sorenex Bulldog pad. As you can see right here, they allow you to have these multiple holes all throughout that allow you to adjust the fulcrum up and down like very minutely. They do that so you're able to like dial in the angle that you're at. But the other reason that they're able to do that is because how thick the steel is. And there's a lot of force being placed on this. I think the same thing could be done on this mechanism right here. So what they're doing is they're having one hole right here. If they were to do like a half moon hole right here, I think it'd still be able to hold the same way it would previously. I think it'd still be able to hold the same amount of weight, which they say is measured at 1,000 pounds. I'm sure you can hold much more than that. But that would allow you to have a 1-inch increment going up and down, which is something that's a huge benefit to like a 5/8 inch hole that has west side hole spacing that these don't. So I think that's a missed opportunity. Again, it's minor, but people are using this when they're doing max lifts. And so if you're on a bench, you want to be able to adjust that as minutely as possible. And that could have been done there, I think, pretty easily. So just another opinion. Now, as you would expect, this is the Monster line. The Monster line stands for both bigger and also most expensive. So this thing is not super cheap. This comes in at 395 bucks right now with additional shipping. And they're not super cheap to ship because they're also heavy and they take up a bit of space. So understand, like, if you're getting these, you're gonna be paying for them. Now, I'm fine with the Monster line costing more because that means they can put more design elements in there, and I think the Monster line is really the premier line. I could see them coming out with a more eco version of this, which is a more budget-friendly version, still made in the USA, but making it more for the Monster Light and the Infinity line. That would be really sweet. But I love that they kind of make the Monster line like all out. So when you're comparing this to other options, it is more expensive. For instance, the Rep Monolift arms. This is the special edition, but they also have a black one. Great handoff there, Sam. This is very freaking heavy. Sam, this is, what do you think, what's the weight on this, you said?
It was like 36.2, I believe.
Okay, like 36.2. Okay, this is basically 36 pounds. It is very heavy. They say they're 70 pounds for the couple of them. It also sticks out super far. We measured all the different parts of it. It also, because the head is so heavy, it doesn't stick out as far. I've heard they're doing an updated design. I look forward to testing it. Although I think this is cheaper because it costs less, I do think that if somebody is buying a monster level of rack or a PR5000, this is an overall better option. It's just a better fit and finish, doesn't have hard edges, doesn't stick out as much, is also like actually comes out further when you're using it during like bench and squats. Overall, it's just an overall better design. There's other options like Titan Fitness, Sorinex has an option. There's also a guy named Mutant Metals that's using a spring-loaded design, which I think is really cool. But just from a price perspective, if you're adding something like this to a higher-end rack, I think this is the best one that's currently available. From design aspect, although there are a couple minor things I'd love to see added just to provide a little bit better use, I love how compact it is. You can use it on, say, a west side bench or something like that. It's easy to maneuver up and down. Like, it just works really well, and also it looks really good. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this something you'd add, or do you prefer just the function of a cheaper piece, which I completely understand. This is Coop from Garage Reviews. We'll see you next time. Peace.